What do a shattered leg, a miraculous cloak, and a grieving widow have in common? They all share one monumental date in Catholic history, July 31st. Stick around to see how this single day changed the church forever. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into a date that is absolutely packed with incredible Catholic history. July 31st isn't just another day on the summer calendar. It marks the passing of a legendary religious founder, the canonization of the America's first indigenous saint, and the birth of a religious order that transformed education in the United States. Whether you are a history buff or looking to deepen your faith, you won't want to miss this. Let's explore the three epic events that make July 31st so special in the Catholic Church. July 31st marks the feast day of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, commemorating the day he passed away in Rome in 1556. Born Íñigo López de Loyola in 1491 in the Basque region of Spain, Ignatius initially sought a life of military glory, romance, and chivalry. However, his worldly ambitions came to a violent halt in 1521 during the Battle of Pamplona, when a cannonball shattered his leg. During his agonizing recovery, the only reading materials available were books on the life of Christ and the lives of the saints. As he read, he experienced a profound spiritual conversion, realizing that while dreams of military heroism left him empty, the thought of serving God filled him with lasting peace. Ignatius abandoned his former life, dedicating himself entirely to the Catholic faith. He lived in a cave in Manresa, Spain, where he developed the spiritual exercises, a powerful guide for prayer, meditation, and spiritual discernment that remains incredibly influential today. In 1534, alongside 6 companions, including St. Francis Xavier, he took vows of poverty and chastity. This small group would become the Society of Jesus, or the Jesuits, officially approved by Pope Paul III in 1540. Under Ignatius's leadership, the Jesuits became leading forces in the Catholic Counter-Reformation, renowned for their intense intellectual rigor, establishment of universities, and fearless missionary work across the globe. By the time of his death on July 31st, 1556, his order had grown to 1,000 members, leaving an educational and spiritual legacy that continues to shape the universal church. On July 31, 2002, Pope John Paul II canonized Saint Juan Diego at the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City, making him the very first indigenous Catholic saint from the Americas. Born in 1474 as Cuauhtlacoatzin, the Talking Eagle, Juan Diego was a Chichimec peasant who converted to Christianity. His life changed forever in December 1531, when the Virgin Mary appeared to him on Tepeyac Hill, speaking to him in his native Nahuatl language and appearing as a mestiza woman. She requested that a chapel be built on the site. When Juan Diego took this message to the local bishop, he was met with skepticism and asked for a sign. Instructed by Our Lady, Juan Diego gathered Castilian roses, which were miraculously blooming in the dead of winter, and carried them in his tilma, cloak. When he opened his cloak before the bishop, the roses fell to the floor, revealing a brilliantly colored, miraculous image of Our Lady of Guadalupe imprinted directly onto the cactus fiber cloth. This miraculous event sparked an unprecedented wave of conversions, with millions of indigenous people embracing the Catholic faith in the years that followed. Juan Diego spent the rest of his life humbly caring for the small shrine built in Mary's honor. His canonization on July 31st was a monumental event for the Church, celebrating his profound humility and confirming the vital role of indigenous communities within the global Catholic family. On July 31st, 1809, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton formally established the Sisters of Charity of St. Joseph's in Emmitsburg, Maryland, marking the birth of the first active religious community for women founded in the United States. Elizabeth's journey to this moment was paved with immense hardship. Born into a wealthy Episcopalian family in New York in 1774, she was happily married with 5 children. However, tragedy struck when her husband William died of tuberculosis while they were quarantined in Italy. During her time in Italy, Elizabeth was deeply moved by the Catholic faith, particularly the doctrine of the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. She bravely converted to Catholicism in 1805, a decision that cost her the support of her family and left her in severe financial distress and social isolation in anti-Catholic New York. Seeking a better environment, she accepted an invitation to move to Maryland to open a school for girls. Other devout Catholic women were drawn to her mission, and on July 31st, they adopted a religious rule of life, with Elizabeth taking the title of Mother Seton. The Sisters of Charity dedicated their lives to serving the poor and educating children. This historic July 31st foundation laid the absolute groundwork for the parochial Catholic school system in America. Elizabeth Ann Seton would later become the first native-born American to be canonized as a saint. Thank you so much for watching! If you found these stories of faith and history as inspiring as I do, please hit that like button, leave a comment below sharing which of these 3 events amazed you the most, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into our beautiful Catholic faith. God bless, and see you in the next video.